Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Common Sense Perspective, right here on YouTube. Normally, I would play my usual song, "God Bless the Child That Got His Own," and I usually include other music here on my show, Common Sense Perspective, but I haven't ran into any problems lately, actually, with it. I just decided to not do that anymore because I don't want to run into any problems. It's already copywritten music, and I don't think YouTube is going to, do anything about it. But just in case, I just want to be safe, and I can use my music, and that was my music. That's actually that song you just heard, the intro. It's called "All My Love" from a CD that I put out in 2010 called "From the Mind Of." And you can pick that up, and a lot of other instrumental songs on there. You can pick that up on iTunes. If you go on iTunes, you can pick that up. And it's myself. All the songs were written, produced, arranged, engineered, all instrumental music by me. With zero recording fees, because I did it at my house, so it didn't really cost me anything to do it. That's what happens when you're trained as an engineer for many years. And I can be able to produce my own music. And my own music is copywritten and it's mine. So, nobody can sue me, and I can't sue myself. In any case, welcome to Common Sense Perspective right here on YouTube. And my name is Gerald. I'm glad to be here. Hope you're listening. I talk about their various things. I talk about politics or whatever the subject of today, and a couple of things I want to talk about. Speaking of my music, I used to play saxophone in junior high school. I started at the age of 12. And I had picked the saxophone because, they wouldn't allow me to play piano because, for one thing, I couldn't play, and nobody was there to teach me. And the piano was always my main instrument that I wanted to learn how to play. And he said, listen, pick another instrument, being that, we already have a piano player and, you can't play piano here and we can't teach you, so pick an instrument. So I picked the tenor saxophone, and I played that for about a year while I was in junior high school in Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, by the way. And so I did that for about a year and a half or so until I graduated from high school. I played in my junior high school graduation, actually. Yes, and I dropped it. I stopped playing saxophone because a couple of reasons. I had a root canal, my front teeth, and my breathing, wasn't all that par. I always had bronchitis. And so by the time I got to high school, I switched to guitar, and I learned that. And eventually, I taught myself how to play keyboards. And what I want to talk about is it's never too late to do certain things or get back into doing certain things. So fast forward in 2000, I picked up the sax again, and this time I started playing soprano sax. Being that the tenor and soprano sax are similar, only one is bigger and the other smaller, but they're in the same key, which is B flat. And like alto, and they're not the same as the alto and the baritone sax, which is both in E flat if you play it. And whatever song is written, you have to adjust and transpose according to the sax. And I'm not going to go into that. And not because it's difficult for for me. It's not difficult for me to explain, but anyway, in any case, I picked up the sax again after all those years, and I took a lesson here and there, and I decided I stopped playing again. I don't know why. And I was, already, playing guitar and playing keyboards and playing bass, and I've been in bands, and I produced demos and this and that and the other thing, and made money with my music around that time. By the time I was in my late 20s, mid to late 20s, I took piano lessons. But around this time, how old was I? I was in my 30s, going in my 30s. I was in my mid 30s, as a matter of fact. And I picked up the sax again, and then I put it down after maybe several months. And I said, I don't know, I just became uninterested, just stuck to my guitar and keyboards and stuff, and playing drums or whatever I was playing, and that sort of thing. And, well, I was looking on the internet recently, in this company that sells guitars and all kinds of other instruments, and I came across this saxophone, this alto saxophone. It was very pretty, and it looked like my soprano saxophone, because most saxophones are like brass, but they're woodwind. They're in the woodwind family, but they're brass, gold. But this saxophone was black and gold, very pretty, just like my saxophone is black and gold. My soprano saxophone is black and gold. And I was like, wow, I was just taken back by it. I was like, that's very pretty, because I'd never seen it before. And I said, no. And I couldn't decide, and I thought about it. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and blah, blah, blah. And, well, I broke down and I ordered it. And it wasn't expensive either, because usually saxophones run in a range of, it could be 4 or 5, maybe even less. But you have other saxophones that are over $1,000. Like some of them like $4,500. Yeah, saxophones can be like that much in price, and they're professional. And I guess all saxophones are kind of professional, and then some of them are student professional, whatever, the way they made and the way they sound. But I broke down and I ordered it. It didn't cost me much, and like $200 and everything, and it actually came today, surprisingly. But I haven't touched it yet. But since I've been thinking about it, I've been messing around and playing around with my soprano sax a little bit here and there, and I remember playing the keys. I remember the scales and all that stuff. And a couple of scales I wasn't familiar with, but at least I had a saxophone book that I could refer to and learn from, And so, being that I know my theory already, when it comes to playing the guitar, when it comes to playing the piano, I know my scales, and I know my flats and sharps and all that stuff, and I know how to read a little bit. This can't be that difficult, and I've already know how to blow a saxophone. So, it's like, and I still can play, I still can blow it, and I still can play a song and not sound like a beginner. I'm not gonna sound like a professional, but I can say I'm kind of intermediate, and I could learn fast and, pick it up and figure out a few things. And it just so happens that I have a neighbor who plays saxophone that lives above me. And so if I needed, pointers, I could always ask him. But I thought about maybe taking a lesson. I don't need a lesson. I know how to do this. If I get stuck, I'll just ask my neighbor. But other than that, I'm fine, And I say all of this to say, it's never too late. And I'm going to go through it, actually. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to quit. I promise myself I'm not going to quit. And I can add it to the number of saxophones, other instruments I can actually play. I can play keyboards, I can play drums, bass, guitar, and add saxophone to my resume. And it's cool. I live up to my name, Gerald B. Unlimited, which is on my YouTube page. So I live up to it. So it's pretty cool. And but I say this not to talk about me and not to, pop my collar. I could always pop my collar. But, I say this to encourage, those. And I was talking to somebody recently about, it's never too late to learn anything. I don't care how old you are, because, at the radio station that I work at, WVOX, at 1460 AM in New Rochelle, I train interns. And I've been training interns for a long time. I would say nearly 20 years. I've been training. I've trained a lot of people, not only here, not only at WVOX where I work, but I've trained people at the station that I used to work at, Kiss FM and CD 101.9, the former CD 101.9, the former Kiss FM. I trained people there, and it's pretty cool to give back. To that they'll take what I trained them, what I showed them how to do, and they could teach other people. Even here, even at WVOX, where I work, I train people, and they get hired at the station, and they could pass on what I learned, what I taught them, what I learned them, what I taught them, and even the people that I train. I have this one lady, she's older. And she wanted to learn a new skill because she's a great painter, great artist, and she wanted to learn a new skill. And I'm currently teaching her, slowly but surely she's learning, and she's doing pretty good. She's doing pretty good. And like I said, it's never too late. With engineering and board operating, with running the board, I always say, it's good to have somebody who's technically inclined, because it makes it easier, to train them because they can catch it right then and there. But, if you're interested and if if the interest is there and the enthusiasm is there, that's a great thing. And you can do it. Anything is possible. Anything is possible, I always say, you don't really need a degree to do this thing. You got, companies wanting to, saying, oh, you need a bachelor's degree, and I think they want to have people have a bachelor's degree, but you don't need a degree to do this. You just got to have technical know-how. Technical know-how is great. If you got technical know-how and you can figure things out, that's great. And it's more than just pushing buttons. Yeah, I push buttons for a living. I tell people, I push buttons for a living. It's more than just doing that. It's recording the show. It's paying attention to the host. It's paying attention to the software that's running the computer, and what the computer does determine what you do on the board. And if the host needs their headphones fixed, or if they need their microphone fixed, so they're not hearing, the callers. Got to answer the phone. Speaking of callers, got to answer the phone. So it's you're a producer, you're associate producer, and I run my own show. You have hosts that need a board op, that need somebody to run the show for them, and I do that for people. For my show, I don't need a board op because I know how to do all this stuff, and I do it alone. I work alone, ladies and gentlemen. In the words of the late great Milton Berle, hey, I work alone. I work alone, and that's what I do. That's what I do, Even in my music, I write, arrange, and produce, and I don't collaborate. Somebody recently asked me if I wanted to collaborate with them, and I don't really trust people nowadays when it comes to music. I write my own music. I have my own publishing. I like to keep it that way. I have my own label. If I want to put out a song, I can put out a song. If I want to put out something on my own label, and it has a logo. I have my own publishing. I'm all set, So, if I need to do all of that, I can. And I can copyright my own music. The music that you hear right now is mine. The music under here that I'm playing. And it's from the same CD that I mentioned earlier, from the Mind of. It's called All About You. This is all me. This is all me. The keyboards, nobody can sue me. I can't sue me. This is my music. So therefore, hey, I'm okay. So, but again, if you want to learn something, and if you have the will and you have the determination and you want to learn something, and even if you put it down and you come back to it later or something like that, and you never give up. You never give up. You keep going, you keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep doing it. And if something doesn't work out for you, you can always try something else. You can always try something else. And that's the way you do. So I'm always training people. Always encouraging people and encouraging interns. And they're from different walks of life. They're from high school, they're from college, maybe they graduated from college or whatever. They're trying to feel themselves and, learn a new skill or something like that. And that's what they do. So it's kind of cool to give back, to give back something. Maybe my old alma mater couldn't. And I was trained, by the way. I've trained at Connecticut School of I went to Connecticut School of Broadcasting and various recording studios in Manhattan, in the city. And even when I was living in Rochester, my very first job was working as an engineer, not at a radio station, but at a recording studio when I was 16. So my very first job, Brooklyn, New York. And, but anyway, yeah, it's never too late to learn. Never too late to learn. While you're here, while you're breathing, go for it. Go for it. This is Common Sense Perspective right here on YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. And I hope you're getting something out of it. Something else I want to talk about, the President of the United States, Joe Biden. I think he's doing a good job. He just recently passed a child tax credit bill, and that money is going to people who have children. And if they, make a certain amount of money under $150,000, something like that, they get a certain amount, and they got their check in their bank a couple of days ago, and that's a good thing. Some people feel it's a controversy. Some people feel, they shouldn't be getting money. They're going to become lazy and this and that and the other thing. How would you know what's going to happen? How would you know? I mean, what's it got to do with you? It's not coming out of your money. It's not taxpayer money, is it? I don't think so. But what does it have to do with you? That money is going back into the system. And by the way, didn't a bunch of us get that $1,400 check earlier this year? Given by the president? I mean, did anybody make a fuss out of where are you getting that money from, or why are you getting that money from? I mean, you got it. Some people are just, some people are just making a big deal out of nothing. And it's ridiculous. Maybe you should just mind yours and worry about you. These are families who are having problems. They're just trying to close the poverty gap trying to close that poverty, thing that's going on, because the people can't afford it. They can't afford to put food on the table, even if they have a job. They can't afford the rent, to feed their children. They put more money in their pockets. Getting children out of poverty. These kids are under 18. Under 18. Gives them more money to feed their children. Why not? I'm sure if some of you have had children, that would be good extra money in your pocket, wouldn't it be? Especially if you were working. I mean, come on. People don't know how to mind their business, and worry about other people. Worry about you. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what you got to do. And we got to take care of each other. We got, we're a country. We're United States. We're trying to get from point A to point B. We all are trying to get from point A to point B. We're all different. But what we have in common is we're all trying to get from point A to point B. And we should learn to respect each other. RESPECT. Around this time I would play Respect by Aretha Franklin, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, we should learn to respect each other. And not necessarily tolerate, but respect each other. Because you're not alone. None of us are alone. We're supposed to be United States of America. That's what we're supposed to be, united. But we're somehow divided. And it doesn't help when you had a previous president that didn't do anything about bringing us together, because he didn't. He still thinks that he's running around still telling his voters that this election is a lie. That Joe is not the real president. Joe and he's a sore loser. He's still stroking the big lie, and Republicans are doing it too. The ones who are supporting him, and the supporters are. You can't be and causing an insurrection because you're unhappy. Because you're unhappy with the results, and the results were honest, and because a lot more people voted in the history of this country. A lot more people voted, and because of a pandemic. There were absentee ballots. There were people who actually got out there and vote. A combination of both. I mean, it's like, this is what happens. This is democracy. You got states that want to take away a democracy and say, oh, you can't stand in line, or you can't do certain things, and they'll take away our early voting. What? And there are people going to the Capitol and getting arrested to fight for our democracy, and getting arrested, but they're not causing an insurrection. They're protesting, peacefully protesting, and they're getting arrested. Really? This is what we come to? It's ridiculous. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're still believing it's a big lie. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be. It's sick. Knock it off. It's really crazy. Anyway, this is Common Sense Perspective, and that's going to do it for me. And I hope that we can be able to get over this and learn to mind our own business and keep abreast of what's going on in our own world, and support each other, and use a little bit more common sense. A little bit more common sense when doing things and thinking about things, because that's what we need. Because we're losing it. Especially if you're going to continue supporting somebody like Donald Trump. And the man is a liar. The man is a pathological liar. And he's been impeached twice. And he is a failed businessman. You should know this. Man's company is a failing company. This company has failed. Every last one of them. Being investigated. Right? You've seen it. You can't always blame everything on the media. No, you don't like the media because the media is showing you this and telling you the truth. And some of you don't want to hear the truth. And that's the truth. And that's what you're going to have to live with. And that's it. And that's just it. Sometimes you can't, not everything is political. It's just the way it is. Some people want to bring politics into it. And, it's just, this person is a pathological liar. There's nothing pathological, but there's nothing political about being a liar. It's like there's nothing political about being a racist. You're just a racist. And you need to knock it off. And I know what it is. I know what it feels like to be, for someone to be a racist towards me. I know what it feels like. And if you don't, then you don't know. And maybe you need to learn to listen. In any case, I'll be back next week for another episode of Common Sense Perspective. And always remember, never argue. Never, ever argue with someone who's a crazy mind. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, take care. Love you all. Hope you have a great weekend. Take care. Love you all. Love each other. Love yourselves first. Love yourself and you can love each other. Make a difference in somebody else's life. Take care. Love you all. Peace.